This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are in Gilroy today in Santa Clara County. Right below us is San Benito County, and the largest city in San Benito County is Hollister. And we are joined by the Mayor Pro Tem of Hollister. His name is Ray Friend. I thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. So I want to talk about Hollister. How is the city doing generally as a government?
Well, as a government, generally, we have our budget being met. We're
Right.
flatlining the budget,
Okay.
which is a struggle these days.
Yes.
It's
And let's talk about that, if I may.
It's only possible because of the employees of the city willing to work with us, and a lot of people willing to restructure some of
Their contracts.
the cost in their
Right.
contracts. And then, as a city council, we elected to not take any extra money and use it for projects, but at first pay down some of the heavy debts that we inherited over the last few years. So it's a lot better now than it was 5 years ago, and it's looking better. So things are slowly coming back.
And let's talk about 5 years ago, because 5 years ago, this state was in a brutal recession.
Mm-hmm.
And up and down the state, we saw municipalities at risk of bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Some filed bankruptcies, San
Yes.
Bernardino, for example. Fortunately, Hollister did not meet that fate.
No.
But while many municipalities were struggling to make ends meet, you also, I understand, had the state come in around that time and provide some dictates with regard to your sewage plant.
Yes.
What happened there?
Well, what it was the domestic wastewater plant was, we had a break in one of the levees. The state stepped in and said, you're not allowed to build any more homes until you upgrade this.
Wow.
And we're talking $15 to $20 million.
And the entire state budget, city budget for a year is?
It's around $30 million.
Okay,
so you're
so-
looking at something very crazy. It was not just the city, the county was also affected
Okay.
by it. And the county did help considerable on the construction. We spent 3 years in a moratorium to build that new plant, which is successful now. We built it with some foresight to add a lot of expansion to it and stuff, so we could grow considerable from where we are now and still be using that same plant for about 15
And
years.
how is the plant doing in the wake of the drought? Because we know that with the drought, I've learned this recently, people are using their toilets less frequently, especially when they go number one, if I
Yeah.
can use that cliche. And that could present challenges for a variety of reasons. Solids could get jammed. If you use the plant for wastewater recycling, you don't have as much.
Right,
So
right.
how has the drought on
Well,
those elements?
What it's caused in that specific area is the city crews have to flush those lines
do.
a lot more than
Okay.
they normally would. And it's the same with, because of the drought, the stormwater drainage system is in the same, there's not enough flow in the stormwater system to stop any, like you say,
Of
backups
course.
or anything like that. So all of that's affected.
And let me ask you about the drought, because when I think about Hollister and San Benito, it's hard to deny that agriculture is not a very significant part of your region's economy. I understand that Hollister specifically is known for apricots.
Sure.
I wish you brought one so we can share it. But there's tomatoes and apples, and you're expanding into artichoke and lettuce and Brussels sprouts. I mean,
Right.
look, California's a salad bowl to America, and Hollister plays a part. So how are your constituents, how are your friends doing in the wake of the drought?
Well, I would say that most of the people I talk to, and I sit on the water board, Hollister has done a very good job of conserving. We were mandated 25%
Right.
from 2013. We're right now at 31%.
Okay.
We have several programs in place where people can get rebates for replacing with low
Appliances,
flow appliances,
toilets.
low flow toilets. If they tear out their lawn and go with drought specific turf and stuff like that, they can get paid for up to $1,000 for so many square foot of lawn that they take out.
So there's no doubt that Californians overall have been tremendous in terms of their contribution towards conservation. I mean, the July figures are nothing short of inspiring. When you look at overall, the state, I believe, saved, I think it was 31% water use based upon July 2013. But you know that that is residential savings, or put another way, non-ag savings. And I am not going to create a scenario where, urban and ag are at war. But I do want to get a sense, how is ag doing, specifically in your region, in terms of playing its part?
Well, we're lucky in one way that we have some very deep wells, and some of the groundwater stuff has not been affected as badly. Yes, most of the people that are in the ag business have cut back.
Right.
We've got some blue water valving that goes on from Hitchachi and stuff.
Okay.
To where they're not as bad off as the residential people are, really.
Let me ask you about groundwater, because as you know, the state recently passed regulations whereas specific municipalities or districts need to engage in groundwater management. Part of the reason for that is that in some communities, I believe farther south than your area, the groundwater is being so stressed, at least the basins are, that there is subsidence. Are you seeing subsidence?
No.
Okay, so that's a relief.
No, we still have a very good groundwater source. We're more concerned with other people trying to tap into our groundwater source than we are right now. But I think by the city as a whole saving what it's saving, we're avoiding any of those issues that are happening in the valley and a few places where they've actually seen measurable drop in there.
I also want to ask you about cattle and dairy, because as I understand it, cattle and dairy plays another important role in the Hollister and San Benito economy. Cattle is hungry, cattle is thirsty, they need crops, they need water, they need land. What's happening to the cattle/dairy industry in your community?
Well, the people I've talked to, the land is not an issue, it's the feed.
It is the feed.
Water, the local ponds that were used for the cattle have dried up, so they've had to import water and then the feed. So what I've seen is a reduction in the size of the herds considerably.
And how is that impacting your constituents? Is it having an effect on their wallets? Is it having an effect on their output in terms of?
I believe that the dairy products that we buy at the store are probably considerably more for that reason. Income, I'm sure it's hurting some of the the larger ranchers and stuff. They're still hiring the same amount of people, but they may be doing different jobs. Instead of doing water cleaning and feeding, they're having to go get the feed, bring it out, and hand feed the cattle and stuff. So
but overall, sir, do you feel as if the second half of this decade will be better for Hollister than the first half was?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You've turned a corner?
I think every indication that I see is it's going to get not hugely better, but it's slowly getting better. And I think and like I said earlier, was with the budget struggles that we had and the help we had from everybody in the county, the city, the employees, everybody restructuring how we did stuff, we were able to keep out of that situation you were talking about with the bankruptcies. And we had the reserve and the forethought by people prior to me being in the council to actually build enough reserve to where we never got that close to that issue. Now I see the budget slowly going up, but when the governor took the RDA away, it really hurt the downtown redevelopment. And
maybe it will come back. We'll see. His name is Ray Friend. He is the Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Hollister in San Benito County. We are in Gilroy in Santa Clara County on our roadshow. It's Brad Pomerance for Charter Local Edition.